Listen. It's time for the Listen Review. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 8, Episode 4, Listen. Right, listen, in the grand scale of things of Series 8, this is an important one, but on its own, as an individual episode, it feels unnecessary, it feels fillery, which is odd because it's quite important for later on in the series with the whole Danny Pink stuff. So the plot of this episode is the Doctor starts wondering whether people have gotten this silent companion partner who, listening to people talk to themselves, when people talk to themselves, they think they're alone, but may turn out that in fact they may not be alone, and they're talking to things that are not that they don't see, but might actually be there. This is a genius concept. The only question is, why do we need a whole episode about it? Maybe if it was a classic series episode and a single parter, by the way. But I'm not sure. Anyway, Clara is on a date with Danny Pink. However, the date goes wrong twice, but we'll get to that in a bit. But basically, Clara and Danny mess up their date, and so Clara goes home kind of disappointedly. By the way, where Clara makes a dig at Danny by saying, "Don't worry, he'll dig for it," when referring to the water being offered to them, was a bit of a dickish move on Clara's part. Yeah, she was trying to be witty and funny, but that was kind of a dickish move on her part. Anyway, so she and the Doctor then go off on an adventure trying to find or understand these kind of creatures that may be hiding in plain sight. Not plain sight, hiding. And you seem to just talk out, and when people talk out loud, they seem to think they're talking to someone else. Also, the whole thing about when people put their feet over the side of the bed and then the hand grabs their ankle. Apparently, lots of people have that dream. Actually, I've never had that dream. Then again, I don't have to worry about creatures living underneath my bed. Have you seen what's underneath my bed? It's stuffed. That's only if I managed to show some of that. You would have probably have seen some stuff that's underneath the bed. There's no way a hand can come underneath from that bed at this current state and time, time and space. So I'm not worried. So the Doctor has Clara stick her hands into these gooey psychic link systems, the telepathic circuits. God, I'm glad that he made it an external thing in the Whittaker era where Graham just had to wear a helmet, a tin hat on his tin thing on his head, and to do this psychic stuff instead of having to stick his hand into some organic stuff. But yeah, Clara sticks her hand into some organic telepathic circuits. Why do they have to be organic? I don't know. Why can't it just be a side of a console, or like in Spyfall, a tin hat, and then attached to the console? Not so much a hat, a helmet, or at least some sort of like tin bowl or whatever they used. So they use Clara's telepathic circuits to travel through time to find a time in her life where she had the dream. This is a risky move, as Clara can meet herself. However, she's not supposed to be distracted, yet she's distracted by a phone call from Danny Pink. So they instead arrive when Danny Pink had the dream. However, he's not actually having the dream. Well, he does, but then a creature then turns up anyway. It sits on his bed and tries to be creepy. And now this is some of the strongest stuff of the episode. As along with some bits later on, the best stuff of this episode is when Stephen Moffat and director Douglas McKinnon are trying to make us scared of this creature or other creatures, or basically just the unknown. This is the episode's biggest strength, is trying to scare the audience of the unknown. It's trying to frighten us. And I think it's played the best here. Yeah, there are some bits that are undercut by some silly moments, like the Doctor trying to find Wally in a non-Wes Wally book. Um, but it still soon raises the tension a little bit later on afterwards, once we cut back to it. And yeah, I think they, due to some great writing, acting, and directing, we actually get some pretty great scary scenes. Starting with the creature on the bed underneath Danny, or Rupert as he's known back then, underneath Rupert Pink's bed sheets. I do have an issue though that the bed sheets do kind of slip off the creature, and we see a generic grey round head and a sort of alien face, a la one like in the Roswell crash, or at least what the alien from the Roswell crash is perceived to look like. In the Doctor universe, see the animated story Dreamland, for example, and then a flash as it goes out the door, and then apparently he's taken the alien's taken the or creature, whatever it was. It might not be alien, it might be from Earth, but the creature has taken the bedspread. Had we not seen the bedspread falling off the creature and the silvery, glowy head, it probably would have made the scene even better, because it was a great scene, but it's slightly ruined, and the whole thing is slightly, the tension is slightly ruined by the reveal of something. Yeah, we didn't have to know. It's like this should be like the Midnight Entity. In fact, most of the other creatures, if not the same creatures, are like the Midnight Entity. If it's the same creature, it could be more than one creature. I have heard this theory that there could be three separate creatures: one in the TARDIS, one in the children's home, and one at the end of the universe, which we'll get onto in a moment. Could be three completely different creatures, and all of them are like the Midnight Entity. We don't know what they look like, or at least we're not supposed to, but we kind of see a glimpse of this one. And if it is just the one creature, then we kind of ruin the mystery. Yeah, the characters don't know what they look like, but we can kind of see it in the corner of the frame when we're focusing on Clara. It should have left the spreads on. If it's going to slip off, at the very least, don't show the creature. And then we have the glow at the door, which is fine. And then Rupert says, "But he took my bedspreads." So why did we see it falling off the creature then? If we saw it come off the creature, or does he still need the bedspread to hide? If in that case, why did he take it off? I don't know. That's the only real issue I have with that scene, is that we see the creature, or briefly see the creature, or at least what its head looks like. So I think it should have stayed as a mystery. Anyway, after that encounter, Clara has another attempt at the date, but again it goes wrong as the TARDIS telepathic circuits go off to the future and find Orson Pink, a time traveler from the 22nd century, who is stranded in the end of the universe and has been there for 6 months. During this time, there have been some scary, loud knockings on the door. So eventually, he soon has a trip in the TARDIS to prove that the TARDIS is in fact the time machine, and they pick up Clara from the restaurant. However, the date is kind of partially ruined because of Orson's arrival at the restaurant. Eventually, Clara, Orson and the Doctor return to the end of the universe. I believe the Doctor deliberately sticks around at the end of the universe so he can know what's going on. The TARDIS probably doesn't actually need 24 hours or 12 hours to recharge. He probably just wants to know what's going on out there, as well as know what Orson's afraid of. So Orson stays in the TARDIS, and the Doctor and Clara are outside, and then we get all the spooky, scary noises outside. And it seems like there is something outside. They're not on midnight, otherwise it would be extonic outside. So it is another planet. Not sure where. Maybe it's Earth in the far future, end of the universe, or rather new Earth, I should say. But yeah, there is something outside. Something knocking on the door, trying to get in, or wanting Orson or the Doctor and Clara to come out. And we never see what it is. We never see what's on the outside of these doors. Maybe it's the same creature, maybe it's another creature. Or, if Big Finish is anything to believe, Captain Jack and River Song playing a prank on Orson Pink. Yeah, apparently in The Lives of Captain Jack Volume 3, when he bumps into River Song, they then go off and have a prank. They go off and prank Orson Pink by knocking on his door. Or at least at the end here, when they're knocking on the door, scaring the Doctor. and Clara. At least that's apparently what happens. I haven't heard this audio yet, but apparently that's what happens in one of the episodes of The Lives of Captain Jack, Volume 3, where he meets up with River Song. And that is a team up I want to see on screen, along with the Jack and Benny and the River and Benny team up. The latter of which does also appear in an audio. Actually got the box set here that it appears in. But anyway, so the end of the episode sees Orson rescue the Doctor after he's unlocked the door and almost gets sucked out, and Clara uses the telepathic circuits to get them out of there. We've got one more place to visit first, however. They then end up in the barn of Gallifrey that the War Doctor went to in the Day of the Doctor, as Clara overhears two people of the children's home, presumably, talking over a boy who's crying in a bed in the barn, as they're too scared to go back out, too scared to sleep inside the children's home, presumably. And it's revealed that this boy does not want to join the army, but he's also that's what the woman says. And then the man says, well, he's not going to go into the academy, is he? He's never going to make a Time Lord. And it's revealed, it's supposedly that it's the Doctor they're talking about, a young Doctor. It's supposedly the Doctor crying in bed, afraid of bad dreams. And then Clara accidentally wakes him, the older Doctor wakes him up. So when he goes over the side of the bed, Clara touches his ankle and then has to try and make it look like it's actually a dream. Telling the Doctor it's all a dream, etc., etc., and basically kind of being maybe part of his psyche for his entire life. Clara Oswald has contributed a lot to the Doctor's life over the years, and now she seems to be part of the catalyst for being brave and stuff, as well as reigniting this memory inside the Doctor and this fear and paranoia. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I'm not sure. I don't know. Was this a good scene? I'm not sure if Clara should be the catalyst. I don't even know if any companion should be, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know about this scene. I don't know. It's a mixed reaction scene. It's like, yeah. The episode then wraps up more or less neatly, but I don't know. It's kind of a strange episode. The positives are the scares and the frights and the unknown. Also, some of the dialogue between Clara and Danny is pretty good, apart from when they're making digs at each other. And the Doctor's pretty great in this episode, and Clara's got some great personality. Cons, like I said, I'm kind of uncertain about that whole final bit at the end, and I think we should not have revealed the alien in the Rupert Pink bits, and there's some bits of the date storyline subplot that don't quite work, nor the actual main plot either. Some bits aren't. I'm not quite certain. I think this is a good episode, but it's not spectacular. It's not amazing. It's not gonna be I don't find it amazing. It's good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but I had a few issues with it as well. I had some niggles. I think I slightly prefer it above Deep Breath, but not as much as Robot of Sherwood, because I had a lot of fun with that one. I think that was the most solid episode of the first four. This one, great scary episode, and good for character drama as well. But there are a few niggles and issues, and that final bit, I'm not certain about that. I'm not sure. It is nice to have one last flashback cameo of the War Doctor, played by the lovely late John Hurt, Sir John Hurt. So that's nice. Had he been credited, this would be the War Doctor's final on-screen appearance. Well, credited at least, or at least as of now, at least. Whether the War Doctor will return, played by another actor, is to be seen. We've seen it done before with other Doctors, but we'll have to see. As for this episode, it's good. I'll say it's good. It's not one to rave over like quite a few people did back in 2014, but it's also not one that's completely terrible like some other people in 2014 thought it was. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't spectacular either. Like I said at the end of my Robot of Sherwood review, I believe it was that at the end of that review, or at the start of this review, I said I liked it, but I didn't love it, and you can be in that between balance, and that's the same for other times of the show. You can actually say something is good or bad, or be in the middle, and without having to say you love it or hate it. It's like this is like with critical thinking. Like you say, "Oh, this is good," but there are a few weird niggles, and or you say, "Oh, this is bad," but there's a few decent stuff in it. So yeah, I find this to be a good episode, entertaining in places. Have my issues, but I still think it was good. I was going to give it a 7 out of 10. I was thinking, yeah, maybe I should give it a 7. But I'm starting to think maybe I should give it an 8. Um, I'm going to stick with 7 because I'm uncertain about that final scene and the wrap up of the episode. And as a standalone episode, it is kind of a bit pointless. It's only when put as a major component in the series is it quite important. So I will be giving Listen a 7 out of 10. Yeah, but despite the 7 out of 10 score, I still found it a pretty good episode. Had some good moments, some entertaining bits too. It's just that I think there was a few issues that in the story as well. It's definitely the scariest episode we've had in a while. It's quite a tense, scary episode, and I feel like that's its biggest strength. And Stephen Moffat has gotten back into writing scary stuff. Maybe the scariest episode since Angels Take Manhattan, but because there was quite a lot of character drama at the forefront of that episode, it wasn't that scary. So maybe even earlier than that. Maybe since the last Angel story, really. Um, it doesn't have to do horror all the time, obviously, but it's nice to have the occasional horror episode by Stephen Moffat or in the Stephen Moffat era. That works really well. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Anyway, next time is Time Heist, the 5th episode of Series 8, which is written by Stephen Thompson, or Steve Thompson, and Stephen Moffat, although how much involvement he has in that episode, along with Into the Dalek by Phil Ford and Stephen Moffat, and The Caretaker by Gareth Roberts and Stephen Moffat. I'm not sure how much involvement Stephen Moffat has on those stories, outside of maybe the Danny Pink stuff. When in the case of The Caretaker, that is pretty much the whole episode. But yeah, Steve Thompson is back writing his 3rd story for Doctor Who, following The Curse of the Black Spot could have been better, and the pretty awful Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS from series 6 and 7 respectively. You've got one last chance, Steve Thompson. You've got one chance. 3rd script and you're out. Well, he doesn't write a Doctor Who story after this one, but was this story so bad he never wrote for the show again, or was this his redeeming episode before he left, or at least never wrote before he stopped writing for the show? Well, I haven't rewatched the episode for the review yet, but at time of recording, I like Time Heist. I found it a very fun and enjoyable episode, so I would say the latter. But how would I feel about it after rewatching the episode for my marathon and its review? Tune in to said review to find out. We'll discover my opinions together. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. But she was kind of a bit of a dick. Anyway, so she and the Doctor then go searching for perhaps a. That is this episode's strongest parts. This is that who's having nightmares in bed. Maybe it's that bit off. Though if it was to be any companion, I would say Sarah Jane Smith, because she's the best. Well, she's one of the best. Well, if any companion was to be the catalyst, I would say maybe Sarah Jane Smith, or Jamie McCrimmon, or Romana, maybe even. New series wise, maybe Rose, maybe Donna, maybe Amy. I'm not sure. Maybe not Clara. I don't think Clara is the right one. She's already contributed enough anyway. It is nice to have it's nice to have John Hurt make one last appearance via flashback before he's gone from the series for. Right, next time anyway, next time is Time Heist, the 5th When the latter one, in the caretaker's case, that is quite a bit. Well, in the case of the caretaker, that is pretty much harm. Well, in the case of the but what would I feel like after rewatching it? Find out in my next review to find out. I'll see you guys then, and we can discover my reasons. I'll see you guys then, and we can discover my opinions together. As I'll see you guys next time, and I'll. Listen. It's time for the listen review. Again. As you can tell, I'm not very good at doing a Peter Capaldi accent.